everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I am bringing you the start of my September vlog. So it is Saturday, September 4th, and I haven't really done much reading lately. The beginning of the month is usually a pretty weird, reading time for me because I don't want to get into something that's too involved, knowing that I'm going to have to start the Book One Cozies Club selection chapter by chapters. And when I do the chapter by chapters, I really focus on that read, so I don't like to read anything else while I'm reading the Book One Cozies Club book, just so that all of my thoughts are clear and I'm not, focused on some other story while I'm reading the Book One Cozies Club selection. So I'm kind of just biding my time right now. I did just finish filming my August manga haul and my August wrap up. I am still not sure how I want to do the wrap ups. I know in August's vlogs that I talked a lot more about my thoughts on the books that I read in there, but I know that not everybody watches the vlogs. So I'm kind of trying to think of a different way to do it. Wrap-ups are not my most favorite thing in the world to film, but I do enjoy talking about the things that I read. So my plan is to try something different again this month with the wrap-ups. I will still tell you, what my star rating is and maybe give you a little hint of my thoughts on it. But I'm going to try to do a wrap-up vlog style this month. I've seen this done on Completely Melanie's channel. I'm afraid that I'm going to be repeating what I'm going to be talking about in this vlog, as well as just doing it over again in the wrap-up vlog video. So I'm going to talk less about my thoughts on what I read in these vlogs, and then talk more about them in my wrap-up vlog. But yeah, so the end of August I didn't encapsule in the August vlog because I did cut that off on August 27th, I believe. I am looking over here because that is where my calendar is. So for the final few days of August, I did try to finish up my Full Metal Challenge. Last I talked to you, I wasn't doing too well. I was rearranging things to complete that challenge, and I did end up completing that challenge. So I did knock out these last two things for the month of August. So these are volumes 1 and 2, volumes 1 and 2 of part 1, the 12 Kingdoms. And I really enjoyed this, so you hear more of my thoughts on it in my wrap-up video, which has already gone up on my channel because obviously this vlog's not going up till October. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I'm hoping that I am going to be able to complete the final installment in that arc part in the month of September, because there are only 3 volumes per arc, I believe. But I also read Bleach, the 4th omnibus. So this is volumes 10, 11, and 12 from Tite Kubo. We are, like I've said, doing a read-a-watch along, my daughter and I. And so we finally got around to watching the rest of the previous omnibus. So that took us to episode 24, I believe, which is in the 2nd season. My daughter just finished reading this omnibus yesterday, so we should be watching more of that shortly. So I'm really enjoying my experience of this story. Like I've said, we have watched the entirety of the anime, so I kind of know everything that has already happened, but it's been a few years since I've watched the anime. So even though I remember a lot of stuff. There are things that I didn't. And more of what I remember is more general things that happen, not really specifics. And so there are also a lot of mangaka notes inside that are not things that you get in the anime. And so that's bringing another level of interest to this story for me. But I'm really, really enjoying this read through so far. It's probably going to take a while considering there are 72 volumes, I believe. There's 25 or 26 omnibuses, so we're only on the 4th one. Need to get a move on that, but I am really enjoying it. And then, so like I said, I'm in kind of like a middle kind of gray ground with my reading right now, because I am gearing up to start the Book One Cozies Club selection. So I decided to go back to Magic Bites by Ilona Andrews, which is the first book in the Kate Daniels series. This is one that I had on my TBR in July. I think it was July. I did finish the required amount of pages so that it passed for my TBR game, but I never went back to it in August. And so since I had already started this one, I just decided to go ahead and continue with it. I am really enjoying it. The fight scenes in here are very, very interesting. I feel very in the book when I am reading those scenes. But at the same time, there are some instances in the story where I'm reading it and they'll say like a certain type of magical creature, or there'll be a term that is not explained, and I feel like I should have known what that term was, but I don't, and so I just end up skimming over it, and I don't feel like I'm getting everything that I need to out of this one. But the story has picked up. There was a fight scene in the section that I finished up last night, and things are starting to get more tension filled. In this story, our main character is getting into a lot more danger with the things that she is investigating. And so, yeah, I do feel still a little disconnected from this story. I am still able to just put it down and not pick it up daily, which is concerning to me considering how much I've just heard raving reviews about this series. But it is the first book in a series, so it is a series that I have been interested in for a long time. Several people that I trust really enjoy this one, so definitely going to continue it, because like I said, I'm not hating it. I am enjoying it. It's just not grabbing me, I guess. But on the same token, like I said, things are starting to heat up. There's a lot more tension. There's a lot more danger. So I think I'm going to be more invested in this story soon. But that's pretty much where I'm at with my reading. I did finish up 2 more pairs of socks by the end of August. I keep forgetting that is August because I'm looking at my calendar that says September, and then I immediately want to say October, but it's August. I did finish up my last 2 pairs of socks for my Lolo Did It Hippos for the Holidays knit along, so I did get everything entered for that knit along. But I unfortunately forgot to bring those socks here, so I will show you those socks in a clip probably after this. And so that's great. I'm still behind on my Christmas sock goal, so I wanted to have 12 pairs of Christmas socks done by the end of 2021, and I think I only have 7. So I should have already had 8 by now. I should be working on my 9th, and I'm just not there. I'm a little socked out, to be honest. I don't really enjoy knitting socks. It's not the thing that I would pick up on a normal basis. I'm very much into the garment knitting right now, which is good because I just got accepted to a test knit. So For those of you who may not know too much about knitting or crafting and how patterns come out, designers will often call for test knitters, people to knit their design and comment back on whether the instructions are clear, if there are any mistakes, and things like that. I have done this in the past, twice before. I've done it for a sweater and I've done it for a pair of socks. But when this particular sweater was being worked on, or the idea was being worked out by the designer, she had given some, like, I wouldn't say they were clues. She'd shown us what she had done. So we kind of knew what it was going to look like. And I know what the theme is. And so she finally put up a test knit call for that. And I immediately jumped on that. And for a while, I wasn't sure if I just didn't make it or if she just didn't get back to people, because I know the designer is really busy. She's going to school. She's also pregnant with her first child. And so I was just like, it's okay. If I didn't get picked, that's fine. You know, at least I tried. I often get very anxious about applying for things like this because I'm not, like, confident in my ability, even though I have been knitting for 17 years. And I kind of feel like, well, if the designer sees what I've done over the 17 years, it's still not going to be good enough. That's just something that I have issues with. My own self-confidence, if you will. But I did get picked. So I ordered the yarn, and of course, with all things that happened to me, the post office, or one of the post offices on the way to my local post office, held on to my package for 2 days. So I was supposed to get the yarn on Wednesday, so that was 3 days ago from when I'm filming this, thinking that, okay, I'm going to have all my yarn, I'm going to be ready to go from getting a good head start on my test knit over the Labor Day weekend, because it is a holiday weekend for those of us in the United States. And my yarn got delayed. It got held up at that post office that is a couple away from my local post office. And so then the tracking says it wasn't going to be here until Monday, which is Labor Day. And I was just like, but Monday is a holiday. Like, the post office is not open on Monday. So I was going to lose the entire weekend of getting to work on this test knit. Now, the test knit's not due till February. I have a long time, but it is a garment, and I'm just really in the garment making mood right now. And luckily, yesterday, the yarn showed up on my doorstep. So I'll insert a clip after this as well, showing you my yarn haul. I am going to be doing a maker's vlog for that particular project, which won't go up until the pattern is released. But I'm just going to be documenting, like, my journey through knitting this project, and so that starts with getting the yarn. And so since I'm doing this vlog here for you, I will share that with you as well. But I did do my swatch yesterday, and I cast on. Everything looks okay. I'm getting ready to go into the color work because it is a color work sweater. I will tell you that it is based on Moana, so the colorwork designs are inspired by Disney's animated movie Moana, and because I am from Hawaii, it was a no-brainer for me to jump on this. Plus, I think it's going to be something that I'm going to want to make for my nieces, even though it is definitely not cold enough in Hawaii to wear a heavy colorwork garment. But for that instance, when they do come up and visit me, they will be able to wear it then, or if they go somewhere else on the mainland that gets cooler temperatures, because they do go to Disney World every once in a while, then they'll have that. But with the way things are right now, I don't think my brother is secure in wanting to travel with his kids, which is totally understandable. And that's also why I haven't gone home to see them, because even if I did go home, there's a quarantine, and the doctors have told my sister-in-law that even if we were home after quarantine, that she shouldn't allow my nieces to see us because they have asthma. So that's kind of a bummer. But yeah, I miss them a lot. My oldest niece actually just turned 7 on the 31st of August. And so they're getting really big, and I miss them. But it's just unavoidable things right now. It's things to keep them safe, and I will see them eventually. I will see them eventually. But for the moment, that's pretty much all I'm doing right now. I'm knitting on my test knit. I'm still really enjoying playing Gems of War. My daughter and I are really enjoying it. We're able to play at the same time, but it is very much like a single person type of game. So we're in the same guild. We work towards the same goals for the guild, but we play on separate consoles. We're not able to do things together. But it's been fun. It's been fun getting back into video games, because for a while I wasn't playing video games, which is probably just as well, because I could get more reading in, could get more knitting in. But you know, when you have multiple hobbies, it's a little bit difficult to find the time to do everything. So I did manage to get a little bit of all of my hobbies in yesterday, and I'm going to try to continue to do that, because otherwise I find that I neglect one or two hobbies for one or two, and I've had that happen to me in the past. So I'm going to try to balance out my hobby life and, you know, give a little bit of time to everything. Other than that, we have been watching movies lately because we're waiting for all of the fall TV to start. So my daughter really wanted to rewatch The Princess Bride, so we did that. It's been a really long time since we watched The Princess Bride, and so we watched that. And then she's like, you know, I think I want to watch The Three Musketeers, and so we watched that. The one with Charlie Sheen and Kiefer Sutherland and Oliver Platt. And so yeah, that will pretty much do it for me for this clip. And I will show you all of my yarn haul and the 2 pairs of socks that I finished in the next clip. So I will be back with you probably next week to fill you in on everything that I've been doing and everything that I've been reading. So I will see you later. So my yarn came in today for my Voyager sweater test knit. These are the colors that I decided on. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get gauge on this. It is a sport weight, so I opted for Wool of the Andes Sport. And for the main color of my sweater, I have decided on the Midnight Heather color. It's a little darker than what Megan used in her little sample that she has been showing on her Instagram and things like that. But the ocean comes in several different colors of blues and greens, and for me, I just wanted a darker blue. And it could also even be like the blue of the ocean in the nighttime. I just enjoy darker colors, and so that is why I decided to go with this palette instead. That is also why I decided to go a little darker on the pinker sections as well. So this is a color that I really enjoy from Wool of the Andes or Knit Picks. It's the Fairy Tale color. And it's coming up really dark on the camera. Not sure if it's my lighting, but there is definitely contrast between the 2 colors. So I opted for that color instead because since this is right next to my neck, the other pinks didn't really suit my complexion. And again, this one is more along the darker colors, and darker colors just work for me. So I opted for that. And then for the white part, I opted for the oyster heather instead. I just thought that it would be nice to have a more beige color. This is definitely different from what I thought I was going to get. I have ordered the oyster heather in the past, which was more of a pinky beige. This is definitely more of a tan beige, just looking at it with my eye. But I think that's still going to work very well. And then for the stingrays, I decided to go with the Wonderland Heather. This is another color that I really enjoy from Knit Picks. And so I decided to go with that one. And I think against the Midnight Heather. So my camera cut out a bit, but like I was saying, I think against the Midnight Heather, this is going to look really great for those stingrays. And then for the Heart of Tafiti, it's the Heart of Tafiti, I believe. I decided to go with a more teal color, just because when it's not glowing, the Heart of Tafiti is more of this tealy turquoise. And I couldn't really find a green that I liked to depict the glowing of the pendant. So I'm going to double up strands and use palette in the, what color is this? Caribbean colorway. So since the Heart of Tafiti chart is like, it's only 12 rows, I believe. I don't think it's going to be too bothersome to match gauge with 2 strands of fingering weight to match up to the sport. So I'm going to try that. I'm still not completely decided about that color. I do have other colors of fingering weight yarn that I could use, but I don't normally purchase DK or sport weight yarn. I normally do my sweaters in worsted weight yarns. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this yarn. I wasn't even sure it was going to be here until Monday because that's what the tracking said. It was supposed to be here a couple days ago, and then it got held up at a post office. And so I'm very, very happy that it is here now, especially with it being a long weekend. And so I'm going to go ahead and start gauge swatching that. But of course, since I was purchasing yarn for a sweater, I had to pick up some Felici because they had just come out with their new colors. And so, I'm sorry, I'm in the light. You can see my shadow, but I picked up 4 balls of the Felici in the Psychedelic Sunset colorway. 2 for me, 2 for my daughter. And then I also picked up 4 balls of the Under the Sea colorway. Again, 2 balls for me, 2 balls for my daughter. And so, yeah, I am super excited with the long weekend to get a good start on this sweater. And so I'll be back with you later when I have cast on and knit some. So I will see you in a bit. Hi everyone, it is Saturday, September 11th, and I'm here to do a little vloggy check-in. I have read a little bit since I talked to you last. The beginning of the month is just so, it's like a strange time for reading for me. Just because I'm kind of waiting to start the Book One Cozies Club selection, and I could be in the middle of something else. But this month was even weirder because I had finished everything that I was supposed to have read as far as my, TBR went. at the end of August, and I didn't have anything that I was in the middle of reading besides a book that I hadn't touched since July. And so I was reading that, and I actually finished that book last night, and that is Magic Bites by Ilana Andrews. This is the first book in the Kate Daniels series, and I was reading this in July to satisfy the prompt of a book I heard about on a knitting podcast. And so the Knit Girls, which is a knitting podcast that I watch regularly, they constantly talk about Ilana Andrews. It's just been a series that I have really been wanting to get into. It's been on my want to read list for a very, very long time. And so when the prompt for a book I heard about on a knitting podcast came up, I knew this one had to be the one. And to be honest, I did have a little bit of a struggle getting into this one. It took me over half of the book in order to really get into it, but in the end I really, really enjoyed it, and I think going forward it should be much easier for me to get into this series. I will end up giving this one 4 stars, I believe, but I haven't yet marked it complete on my Goodreads page, just because this particular edition is a special edition. It says a special edition of the first Kate Daniels novel, and it says it includes prequel story, first time in print bonus material down here on the bottom. And so what I have left here is that prequel story. And so I don't know if I want to mark it as complete for just the first book and then do the prequel story separately, or how that goes. So I haven't yet marked it as complete. But I did really, really enjoy this, and I'm looking forward to seeing the further adventures of Kate Daniels. So that is the book that I completed last night. Tonight, I will be finishing the last section of the Book One Cozies Club selection, which is A Caterer's Guide to Love and Murder, the first book in the Caterer's Guide to Crime Mystery series by Jessica Thompson. And so I will be recording my thoughts for that and completing the chapter by chapters. I did end up working on all of the chapter by chapters that I had completed up to yesterday, so about 5 sections, because this chapter by chapter was 7 sections again. And so I worked on all of those, edited them, posted them up on YouTube, and scheduled them. So those started coming out yesterday as of the day that I am recording this, but it's obviously already up on my channel by the time you're watching this video. So I am going to be completing my second book of the month tonight, and then tomorrow, September 12th, starts Mid-Year Mystery Madness. So when I'm done with my chapter by chapter tonight, I will be starting Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This is a book that I have had on my want to read list again for a very, very long time. And in 2021, I feel like the universe has been telling me I have to read this. I have just been seeing this book everywhere. And I'm not talking about just on BookTube. I have seen commercials for movies that are coming out on it, and I've heard people who aren't on BookTube, because I watch a lot of knitting podcasts and I watch several other things on YouTube, and there have been mentions of Rebecca in those things. So obviously the universe is saying you need to read Rebecca this year, and so I will be doing that for Mid-Year Mystery Madness. This one, oh, the font is very tiny. This one is 380 pages, so I have a very strong feeling that this is going to be the only book that I'm going to be reading for the week. Yeah, it says the unsurpassed modern masterpiece of romantic suspense. So romantic suspense is something that I don't often read. I believe this is also classified as gothic, which is again something that I don't normally read, and it's also a modern classic, and classics aren't something that I tend to reach for either. So I believe that this one really fills out that prompt of reading a subgenre of mystery that I don't normally read. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this, though now that I've seen how small the font is on that, I'm a little bit intimidated just because I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to finish this book in the week, but I will try to do so. So that is pretty much all of my reading plans for the next week. I actually just finished recording my knitting podcast. So I do have a knitting podcast on a secondary channel, which is Desus 19 Hearts Yarn. I have it linked down in the description box below and in every video that I post. So if you're interested in seeing what I've been knitting on and hearing more details about the things that I do work on in the month, definitely check out my yarny updates. And I do those about once a month. So since it is the kind of beginning of the month, I sat down to do that today. But I told you in the last clip that I had been working on a test knit, or I was going to start working on a test knit. And I don't actually have permission to share what the test knit actually looks like. So I can show you what it looks like inside out. And so that is what I'll do right now. So this is what I have so far. It is a colorwork sweater. So this is the inside of the sweater. And so that's how much I've gotten done since I talked to you last. That is about 6 days of work, which is quite a feat for me. I'm very, very pleased with how much I've been able to do on that. But I did also tell you that I was going to share with you my yarny purchases. And so I did show you that clip right before this one, so you could see all of the yarn that I'm using for that piece. I'm housing the project in my Krampus bag by Leading Men Fiber Arts. Krampus is one of my favorite colorways by those dyers, and so I had to have this bag when I saw it. And that is pretty much all of my plans for the next week, is to work on this sweater and read Rebecca. And yeah, I'm still trying to work away on the rest of my TBR. I'm just kind of in a weird space right now with my reading. Like, I have a ton of stuff I need to read, but with all of the readathons and the chapter by chapters and everything like that, I just kind of feel off my game this month. I don't know what it is. Plus, with the fact that it took so long to get one book finished in the month, I mean, we're 11 days in and I've finished one book so far. I'll finish 2 by tonight, but still, I feel like I'm really behind. I want to, participate in Bookopoly-a-thon. I've already done my roles for that, so I know what the prompts are. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to fill in books for that. So with my looming TBR still in the back of my mind, I'm getting a little bit stressed out with the amount of stuff that I still need to read for the month, but slowly chipping away. So this week will pretty much be just mid-year Mystery Madness, and then if by some miraculous chance I finish Rebecca before the week is up, I'll start in on something else, but I highly doubt that I'll be able to finish Rebecca before the month is over. And yeah, other than that and what I've been knitting on, last night we watched Matrix and Matrix 2, the sequel. I can never remember what the sequel is called, but that's probably because I haven't watched the sequel much. I've watched The Matrix more times than the rest of the sequels, but The trailer for Matrix 4 came out the other day, and my daughter had never seen The Matrix, so we've been watching that. We'll probably watch the third movie tonight, just to finish up that trilogy. And yeah, just waiting for the fall TV shows to start up, which should be this coming week. And then our TV schedule will be packed again. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been up to. And so I will stop to this section of the vlog here, and I'll check in with you a little bit later. Hi everyone, it is Friday, September 17th, and I am here with another vloggy check-in. So I have read a couple things since I talked to you last. I actually should have told you I read this a couple vlogs back because I finished it at the end of the month, but I did read the 4th omnibus of Bleach, so this has volumes 10, 11, and 12, and we have already watched the anime episodes that correspond with the things that happened in this volume, and so I am looking forward to getting into the next omnibus, which I should be doing soon, I believe. I definitely want to get that read before the month is over. I ended up giving that one 5 stars. I finished up Magic Bites by Ilana Andrews, which is the first book in the Kate Daniels mystery series. Mystery? I think it's just called the Kate Daniels series. I ended up giving this one 4 stars, but the more I think about it, I think it's more like a 3.75. This is probably going to be an installment that I will not reread, just because the setup for me on this was a bit long and there were a bit of confusing things in regards to some of the terms that were used that weren't explained. I feel like I was supposed to have known what those terms were before going into this book, but I didn't, and I don't know what they are, and I haven't researched them, to be honest, because just didn't. So I did really enjoy the latter half of this book, though. So yeah, I think this one's going to be a 3.75. This one not only has the first book in this series in it, but it also has the prequel novella, which is called A Questionable Client, and so I also read that one. I enjoyed that one quite a bit. I was giving that one a separate rating. I'd probably give that one a 4-star. That would be something that I would reread, but the first book in this series, I probably wouldn't. I am going to continue with this series, though, because I did find it very interesting, and now that all of the kind of setup is out of the way for this series, I think this series is going to go much smoother for me. So I'm really glad I finally got that one read. And then just this week was Mid-Year Mystery Madness, or Subgenre September, however you are calling our little mini event for March Mystery Madness. And so for this one, I decided to read Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and I ended up giving this one a 3.5 stars as well. This on the front says it's the unsurpassed modern masterpiece of romantic suspense. I did not find this suspenseful at all. There's a little bit of a mystery element in it, but it, for me, was very predictable. I predicted everything that was going to happen up into the twist that's about 3/4 of the way into this book. And then after the twist, I figured out everything that was going to happen. At least the major plot points going towards the end of this book. So yeah, this one is not going to be one I reread either, but I am very glad that I finally got this one off of my shelf. I feel like this is the book the universe has been telling me I absolutely have to read this year. I've just seen it everywhere. Booktubers are reading it. Manga tubers are reading it. Knitting people that I follow are reading it. In fact, I just found out there was a read-along on the, like, for a knitter's channel was hosting a read-along for this book, as I was already almost halfway through this book, so I wasn't able to participate in that read-along, and I have already finished this book. I listened to a majority of this, I would say, on audio, and I thought the audio was good. And yeah, I think if I had gone into this book not expecting it to be mysterious, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. I think it probably would have been a solid 4-star. But because I kept looking for those mystery elements, 3.5. I am interested to see what I think of other works by Daphne du Maurier. I believe I've heard some people talk about Jamaica in some other videos, so maybe I'll check that one out. I don't know what it's about at all, but yeah, I thought the writing style was very easy to read, and I was just disappointed by the mystery element. It wasn't very mysterious or suspenseful. So those were the things that I have finished so far. I'm obviously not doing very good with the things that I had planned to read in my TBR videos, plural, but I do intend on trying to get some manga read this weekend because our manga club meeting is on Thursday. I just so happen to have the next week off from work. It was very unexpected, kind of. I had always intended on taking next week off, but while I was on vacation last month, my boss had reserved the week, and his wife ended up being very sick, and so he had canceled his plans to be off at the last minute. And so I said, well, since I've got these vacation days I have to burn before the end of the year, can I take the next week off anyway? Because I did intend on reserving that week before you did, but you got to it first. And so he first said no, And then he was all like, yeah, go ahead. And so, yeah, it's kind of one of those things where I have to take the days because otherwise they have to pay me for them, and they don't want to do that. And so I kind of got reprimanded last year for not taking my days. And so this year I'm trying to take more days. It's better for my health anyway and my stress levels. But yeah, it just turns out that I kind of always wait to the latter half of the year to take a majority of my vacation days, just because I want to have them available at the beginning of the year, just in case something happens. You know, somebody has to go to the hospital. I have to go to the hospital. I get very sick, you know, things like that. It just worries me that I don't have enough time to take days and things. So I always wait till the latter half of the year to take my vacation. And so I'm kind of like taking as much as I can now. But anyway, it is my birthday on Sunday. I do not have any plans. I'm looking forward to hopefully talking to my brother, though I may not be able to. We'll see how that goes. He is somewhere for work, so he's not back home, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to call, and then maybe I'll get to talk to my dad, but we shall see about that. Lately, he just texts me instead of calling, and so, yeah, I know he was close to where I am recently, but just didn't put in the effort to actually make time to come and see me, and so I'm a little bit ticked off. But that's just how the relationship between me and my dad is. It's kind of always been like that. We've kind of not been on the same page, I guess, if you want to say that, for my entire life. He just sees things different from me, and yeah, I kind of feel, this is getting a bit personal, but I kind of feel like he's kind of been disappointed in me and the things that I ended up excelling at and wanting to do with my life. They definitely weren't the things that he wanted me to excel in and do with my life. They're very different, in fact. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult thing, you know, parents and being an adult and having your own life, and, you know, still wanting them to recognize you and, you know, make the effort to spend time with you. But yeah, every time I tell him that I'm coming home for a visit, his question is always why. And I'm like, well, you're there, I kind of want to see you. My brother's there, I want to spend time with him. You know, spend time with my nieces who are still little, but I don't get to see them very often. And with the pandemic and everything and their health issues, it's safer for me not to go home to visit, so I haven't seen them in a very long time. But yeah, that's a bit of a ramble, isn't it? But maybe I'll get to talk to my dad on my birthday. If not, he'll definitely text, and his wife will also text. But yeah, it's just something that's been bothering me for a little bit. Truthfully, it's bothered me a lot of my adult life. But yeah, that's where we are with that. Other than that, we've been watching some movies lately, so our like fall TV shows haven't started up yet. They will next week. But to pass the time, we've been watching some movies. I've got a huge Blu-ray collection, and there are a lot of Blu-rays that we haven't watched yet, so we've kind of tried to watch some of those. We rewatched Goonies last night. What else did we watch? Oh, we watched The Knight's Tale, which was a movie that we've watched several times before, but I had purchased a replacement copy on Blu-ray since I had only had the DVD, and the Blu-ray was still wrapped in plastic. So we unwrapped that and rewatched that. I really enjoy A Knight's Tale. Funny enough, when I was in high school, I was assigned Chaucer's Canterbury Tales twice to read. So I read it my junior and my senior years of high school. And I ended up actually reading the same stories from the Canterbury Tales. But yeah, so it kind of always takes me back to those memories of high school reading the Canterbury Tales when I watch The Knight's Tale, because obviously Geoffrey Chaucer is one of the characters, and then there's a little bit of, you know, story with the Pardoner and the Summoner, which are stories that I read. And yeah, so I enjoyed rewatching A Knight's Tale. We watched the 90s version of the Mortal Kombat movie on Netflix the other night. I had heard that the 90s version was better than the remake that came out this year, but truthfully, I have I didn't think that it was great. Like, I enjoyed seeing all of the fighting stuff, and Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa is in it, but I can't see how the 2021 version could be worse, just with all of the advancements in effects and everything. So I think I will actually watch the 2021 version sometime. But I do have the Blu-ray versions of the Mortal Kombat movies coming to me. There was apparently 2 other Mortal Kombat movies that came out in the 90s or so. So when that comes in, I'll watch those. But I did enjoy it. I just don't see how it could be better than the 2021 version, unless the story's funky. But yeah, I'm looking forward to comparing those. What else did we watch? Oh, we rewatched Karate Kid Part 2. That one is my favorite of the 3 with Pat Morita in it, and it was obviously filmed in Hawaii, so I have a little bit of a bias towards that one as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed rewatching that. My daughter says she didn't remember watching it, but she is studying Japanese, so it was kind of one of those ones where it's like, I don't understand how you couldn't have watched this, because it is my favorite and you're studying Japanese and it shows Japan. But yeah, I ended up enjoying it. I don't know if she enjoyed it as much as I did, but that one definitely is my favorite of the 3. We do watch the Cobra Kai TV show that's on Netflix, so we're all caught up through all of the seasons. We're just waiting for the next one to come out, and so I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, I've been knitting away on my test knit. I am almost past the entirety of the color work, but I don't have that to show you at this time. I do want to kind of pick up a more Halloween themed project soon, since it's almost the season for that. But other than that, that's pretty much all that I have done since I checked in with you last. So I will probably talk to you in another week's time. By then, our manga club meeting will have been done. Maybe I'll take you along with me to the Barnes & Noble and we'll do some manga shelf browsing. But yeah, so today I am planning on redoing my nails, because I do have some grow out and all of the nails are cracked. I do dip polish for my nails. I think last month I just showed you the change between my Color Street nail strips, which I had used, and then I had done another dip manicure, and so my nails are very weak, and so I don't use the Color Street strips as much, only when my nails feel a bit stronger. And they obviously, I'm either really hard on my nails or something, but I'm always cracking the dip polish, and the dip polish is very hard. So I'm not sure what I'm doing to get all of these cracks, but I've got cracks on every single nail. So I do need to get that one done. Not sure what color I'm going to go with yet, but I do use a combination of the Color Club nail dip polishes and the Kiara Sky dip polishes, and I do like Color Club's liquid activators and polish, like the base things that you use for dip polish. I find that that particular brand of liquids for dip polish use is what works best for me, and it also stays on my nails the longest. So that'll take a couple hours of my day because I've got to soak off my nails and then redo my manicure and all of that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some new colors on my nails, and that's pretty much my plan for today. Redoing my manicure and knitting some more on my Colorworks sweater. I've already recorded 2 videos today. So I recorded my series first impressions video for the Book One Cozies Club selection, which I also finished reading since I talked to you last. But you'll hear more of my thoughts about that when that video goes up. It obviously will be up before you see this video. But then I also recorded my announcement video for the Haunted 24-Hour Manga Readathon, which will be happening October 15th through the 18th. So if you're interested in participating in that, definitely check out my announcement video, which I have linked down in the description box below. But that is all I have for today, so I will check back with you in a bit.
So since I mentioned that I was going to be redoing my nails today, I thought that I'd share with you the products that I would be using. So first off, this is my old manicure. So it's very sparkly. Not sure how well you can see that, but there is quite a bit of growth there. You definitely cannot see all of the cracks though. But like I said, there are micro cracks all over the surface. In fact, this nail has a crack that goes like this, and there's another crack that goes up like this, and they meet right here in the middle. But this is the Kiara Sky. Oh, cannot see that. It's Kiara Sky, and it just looks like this. You can see it's like in a powder form. And the color is called Tahitian Princess. So that's what I currently have on my nails right now. And I'm going to change it to, you can't even see that either. It's Color Club's Serendipity, which is their dip nail polish, I guess you call it. And it's the same thing. It's that powder. But this color is supposed to be like a deep red color, and it's called Feverish. So I'll be using this for most of my nails. And then I'm going to do an accent nail in the Color Club Serendipity. Color is 3 Wishes. So this has different sizes of glitter in it. And you can see it is just a powder with lots of glitter in it. And so basically what you do is there's like this clear special nail polish that you use, and you put that on your nail, and then you dip your nail, and then you repeat the process a couple times, and then you put like this activator which makes the combination of the liquid and the powder hard on your nail. And then you put on like the top coat to make it like shiny and protect it. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do right now. I will be back with you when my nails are done. So it's been a few hours later and I came back to show you what my new manicure looks like. So it looks like this. So it is a like burgundy color. I don't know. It looks black on the screen, but it is burgundy. The ring finger I did a layer of black before I did the gold sparkles, and yeah, so that's what it looks like. These manicures usually last me about 2 to 3 weeks. The Tahitian Princess I had on earlier, that was a 3-week manicure, and that's the longest that I've had one of these dip manicures on for. Normally, at about the 2-week point, they start to lift, or I lose 1 or 2 or 3. But the last manicure I did stayed on very well. And so, yeah, it does take a little bit of practice to perfect your application with the dip polishes. But I think I've pretty much got it down. I really do enjoy these, doing my nails this way. And it is hard. Like, I don't think you can hear that, but it is hard. So it does help strengthen my nails a lot. And I don't get breakage anymore. That's a common problem that I've had with my nails, just because I guess I type a lot and I do lots of things with my hands, and the last 6 months or so I've had really bad tears, like down to the quick or past. At Christmas time, if you watched my Vlogmas, you would have seen that I had a crack here and on this side, but the middle was still connected. And so, yeah, that wasn't fun, but that happens to me all the time. And so I tend not to use regular nail polish anymore. I do still if I want, like cute designs, but for most of the time, this is what's best for me. So, yeah, I just wanted to check in and show you what my nails look like now, and I will talk to you a little later.